Welcome all Earthlings and other beings. My name is Lara, and this is Zollar Tarot and Art. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the image that I was seeing that goes with this reading, and then I'll do the initial spread, and then another video will pop in over here so you can watch me mostly finish the drawing. And then after the entire read at the very end, you'll see the finished and colorized drawing. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, what I kept seeing over and over again was this image of, it wasn't like quite an elk, it was like more of a deer. But mostly what was emphasized in this image that I kept seeing were antlers, and the antlers seemed to sort of like blossom out and go into different directions. They were really beautiful. But also the antlers were sort of like, for some reason, they were going up and forming like a DNA strand. And I've talked before about, you know, imagining your two-strand DNA duplicating or multiplying into a 12-strand DNA, because that's really more of an ultimate way to use your full brain, your full mind, and to access many of the abilities and everything that have been shut down over the years, over centuries. So anyway, so this was it was not quite an elk that I was seeing. It was more of an elongated, like beautiful stag. And there's something here about, I kept hearing the quote, the head, that goes, the head is heavy that wears the crown, something along those lines. And it's based on a quote from Shakespeare, which is, I think, Henry IV. And that play is all about the struggles of, you know, being a leader, and about Henry IV and his turbulent, you know, reign and everything. So anyway, you can kind of see the deer here, and I'll be developing this when the other video starts popping up for you. And this is going to be really quite beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. And we're going to go ahead and start with the initial spread. So here we go. Okay, so this is your initial spread here, and I'm going to pull some clarifiers on here, but here's what I'm seeing. Is it looks like you really got clear on some things, because in this scene here, this is the Beetlejuice deck, and I put this out because we're getting close to the Halloween holiday season, even though this is a timeless read, but it's a cool deck. So in this scene here, it's like he's above this like miniature model he made of the town he lives in, this guy. And so he could get a bird's eye view of everything that's going on, and in a way. And so you got really clear on something is what I'm seeing. You got really clear on what needed to be cut away, and who the snakes are in your life. So this is when the character Beetlejuice shows up as the snake, and all his scheming, you know, is starting to come together. It gets revealed like what his plans were. So somehow you revealed somebody's plans, or somebody showed their true face, right? Who might have been somebody that you thought was a good person, and it turns out they look like this inside. And so you started to like get clearer on what you're willing to give away or not. And people might have been bugging you a lot about trying to take something from you. Maybe they were after your house, maybe after your stability, your time, your energy, and you're like, no. And so in this scene, this woman wanting to get a hold of this woman's house, she keeps trying to like force them to sell it, and they're like, no, we don't want that. And she just ends up closing the curtains on her and everything. So yeah, so, and then what happened is someone either died, or there was a big change in your life. So, or you put to death several relationships that don't work for you. Maybe you put to death some sort of beliefs. I'm going to pull a clarifier on that, as a matter of fact. Yeah, but you really bossed up, because here you've got the King of Cups and the King of Pentacles. So not only were you able to preserve your compassion and your feelings and everything, and maybe some self-love in there too, and be a compassionate leader, but you were also able to get your money straight. So I'm going to pull on what this death is, though. I'm curious. So can I have clarification on death for this collective, please? I'll list all of the cards down below in the description box too, so that you can you know, get your own, and just, you know, appreciate the artists who create these. Okay. So you put to death someone you might have loved. There was someone that, you know, maybe something you loved or someone that you actually loved, but you had to walk away from. I mean, because, you know, you got the lotuses here, which is all about blooming out of the mud. So somehow you had to let something go. Let's see. Another one, please, on death. Oh, look at that. Yeah. The Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is like, it could be nightmares, like a breaking point, maybe depression, insomnia, maybe a lot of anxiety over the situation. Yeah. Feeling, you might have even felt kind of strung out for a while after dealing with whomever this was. Can I have clarification on the King of Cups, please? Yeah. Five of Cups. You had to overcome some sadness, and this would have taken some self-love, like really turning inward to love yourself. Can I have another one, please, for the King of Cups? The High Priestess, and you really had to use your intuition to do so. Yeah, so you had to navigate maybe some difficult things, but you had to move intuitively as well as logically. I see that. And then clarification on the King of Pentacles, please. Okay, another one, please. It's like you had big success in money, I'm seeing. You had to maybe close out some accounts or things like that. Yeah, but I think it caused you a lot of stress. Like there were some things, again, you just didn't really see. Maybe you felt rather restricted. Maybe for a while their money was tight, or you just weren't sure which way to move. Something was pressing upon you. I want to see a little bit more about this, this Eight of Swords. Like a lot of drama here. This is what I'm getting. There was a lot of drama, and it actually, like, it might have like distracted you for a while from what you needed to be doing. Yeah, drama, drama, drama. Can I have clarification on this Eight of Swords, please? Yeah, that was a big burden. Another one. So whatever the situation was a very big burden for you. You really felt like you had to, you were in a, you know, you had to like hold a lot on your shoulders that you really felt like you shouldn't have, but you had so many responsibilities and things you had to take care of. And it was a long journey, it felt like. Right. But this journey actually led you to more self-love and respect, which is excellent. That's how you convert that. Yeah. All right. Ace of Wands, passion. Yeah, maybe that's what got you through this, is like you had this idea or this dream, this real passion of what you really wanted. And you knew that if you had enough faith, if you kept carrying this load, that at some point you'd be able to drop the load and move forward into happiness. And you did. You've made the changes. So that's excellent. We're going to pull another layer so we can see more into that. You know, and the stag here that I'm drawing with the big antlers, yeah, it's like a heavy burden. I can see that you've had this heavy responsibility, this burden, almost like a crown that was so heavy. It was really difficult to carry, but you had to. Either maybe you have children or something, maybe those were your responsibilities, or you just you had someone you were taking care of perhaps, or maybe it was an elderly parent that was really like a heavy burden or something, and they maybe had died, passed on, something like that, and things changed. But whatever it is, you got through it, and you have done very well for yourself, so congratulations. I'm going to pull 3 cards from this to look at what your hopes and fears are. All right, another one. Yeah, you've been really hoping for this good fortune. Another one. I see. So you're even thinking about the simple living, like just living in a small cottage somewhere and letting go of material things so you don't have to feel burdened by having to take care of that possibly. You're really hoping for to get some of your youthfulness back, to be re-inspired again. Yeah, it's this stay wild moon child. So maybe you like to go for walks at night or something. Maybe the moon is regenerating for you. It's regenerative. Yeah. Yeah, it's good fortune. You're wanting good fortune. You're wanting to be able to rest and reflect. These are things that you're wanting to do. Maybe you are wanting to go look into, like, you know, maybe a spa or something, or just a vacation to get away from this and just sort of like stand here like the egret and just reflect in the moon. See, right? So this is all about the moon, right? So I can see this is what you're hoping for, to keep things simple. Keep it real, but keep it simple. and be inspired. Okay, so the next layer, let's look into what your strengths and talents are. We'll pull 3 cards for this. Okay, so it looks like you are a parent, or you're very good at mothering. Maybe you have pets or something too, but you're someone who nurtures and cares for things. It's a talent of yours. You have a sense of responsibility. That probably the big burdens or things you've been trying to handle have something to do with making sure that children have what they need, which is really important, or that whoever's depending upon you. And you're a teacher, so you know, you have a talent for teaching something, so there's something that you're really passionate about that you're very good at. I mean, maybe you're into martial arts, or maybe you just like reading a lot, or maybe, because he's always got this special robe on here, maybe you love the Fae, maybe, you know, there's just something that you specialize in. And of course, this says the lover here. So you really have a compassionate heart. And underneath we saw we had the King of Cups. So you're a person who's not lost their heart in all of the stuff you've had to deal with. If anything, it's strengthened your love for yourself and the things that actually really do matter for you, which is like your children and your family and those you love and care for, and making sure that you pass on knowledge that you've learned to help others and be of service, which is excellent. That's really outstanding. Yeah. And lovers, well, to be a really great and talented lover, there's a sense of sensitivity and a realization of what the other person needs and everything too. So that takes a certain amount of awareness and observation and, you know, tuning into, you know, feelings and passion. And we saw that you are very passionate. So, yeah. That's really nice. It's very well-rounded. I do want to look into your shadow side a little bit. So let's see if we can address like kind of the shadow work you've been working on. We'll pull 2, maybe 3 cards. So let's see what we've got. Is there needs to be addressed about this collective's shadow side. All right, so I see you've been transforming some of because we all have shadow side, and the best thing to do is to learn how to integrate your light and shadow together into a balanced form, into a balanced expression as you co-create with the divine, right? So creativity, which I highly recommend, and I feel like it's a really important part of our existence and everything. Healing through art is very important. And so I feel like perhaps you're a creative person, or if you've explored some sort of, it doesn't have to necessarily be painting, drawing, like what I do, but you could also that could also be music, it could be acting, it could be, you know, just gardening, anything that feels creative and inspiring to you. And somehow you've been transforming this through that creative expression, and that is excellent. That's excellent alchemization. You've had to learn how to surrender. You've had to learn how to have faith and realize that, you know, because obviously you were an intuitive person because the High Priestess came out before. So, you know, you've learned how to have faith in the divine, to know that you don't have to know everything right now. You just need to keep moving forward towards what lights you up and inspires you. That's always the correct path. That's literally your north node in your astrological chart. So you might want to go have your chart done to see what that is. But that will tell you kind of the direction to move in as well. So yeah, so have curiosity, and I can see that you have. So you knew that there was something on the other side of these burdens, and once you got through it, there would be reward. It says have courage. So you've had to have a lot of bravery and courage. Says stop hiding, show up, and let yourself be seen. And that's sometimes hard to do, especially if you've gone into any sort of like hermit mode for a while, sort of like kept yourself away from people. Sometimes you got to reemerge, and you have to do that kind of in stages. So, you know, you maybe fear being vulnerable and everything, and that's totally understandable. So you've had to conquer these fears, have to conquer your fears of showing your true self, perhaps, and making yourself available to other people and be vulnerable. And, you know, perhaps in creativity, maybe showing or sharing that with other people as well, which would feel vulnerable. Yeah, and, you know, having faith in the divine takes a certain amount of bravery as well, because you do have to surrender the ego. That's an important part of it, and there are lots of rewards on the other side of it. So these are kind of the shadow aspects you've been having to integrate so that you can move forward in life, and this is just a great way to balance things. So let's pull on what your likely future is going to be. dude, these are really good cards. So these are like this Eight of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Judgment. So Eight of Pentacles talks about being a master at what you do, right? So this is someone who's worked really hard on their craft, their career, the things that they create in the world, and you're very, very good at whatever this is. So, and that's leading you right now to this Nine of Pentacles. This is one of my favorite cards in the tarot. This is the independent, successful person. This is somebody who's built it themselves. So literally it's progressed from working so hard, and whatever you've been working on that you're so excellent at, it's, you know, now bringing you rewards, or it's about to if it hasn't already. So I feel like you've already been seeing some of those rewards, and you did it yourself, of course, co-creating with the divine. But so always thank the divine, thank your spirit team and your ancestors, because they have your back, obviously. So, but you are this independent entrepreneur somehow. You're this person who has built what they have, and you're very successful at it. This is coming in the near future, actually. So this is what you're moving towards. But so keep working on whatever this is, keep developing it. You know, and then Judgment can be about a lot of things, but it's about karma, of course, but it's new beginnings. It can be renewal and a really successful outcome, finding your calling. So through all of this that you've had to endure, you know, you've really found your calling. You've really matured into your antlers, right? Yeah, you've taken that to a whole different level. That's really beautiful. Good for you. All right, well, I want to pull on the advice and best thing to do. Okay, so I pulled some cards on on advice for you from your guides, the best thing you can do to get the best results. And so we have here the path less traveled, and it says, when given the choice, choose the road less traveled. The path is steeper, but this is where you'll find the gold. So whatever you're doing as an independent here, like we were talking about, and that you're working so hard on doing something unusual, or doing something that other people think is too hard, or it's not realistic, or blah, 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 you know, that path, that unusual path, is actually going to give you the best results. I can attest to this type of thing. You know, I've gone against the grain for so long, but not to go against the grain, but just just because it was a lot of naysayers and everything arose, and saboteurs, but it yields the most, not only material wealth and things like that, but also, you know, that inner satisfaction that you want from the work that you do. That's, you know, you just feel like you're really accomplishing something, and what you're doing is on track with the divine and everything. So it's just saying, go ahead and follow that unusual path, because it's worth it. And then here you have the sorceress. It says, you or someone close to you may have fallen under the spell of a sorceress. If you stand firm and don't give an inch, it will pass. So, you know, if you, like, for instance, become famous or something like that, or really successful, or you do something unusual, there are always going to be people who are jealous, have an issue with it. They think you're not doing things right, or they want to mess with it, or stick their foot out and trip you up, or throw stones and hide their hand, and all that nonsense, right? So it seems like you have had to deal with people like this who think that they can mess with your life and mess with your energy and everything, and they're sadly mistaken. So don't let that sway you, and don't worry, because this will pass, and you can just call on your spirit team for protection, call on Great Spirit or God for protection, and pray and everything, and that's going to help you quite a lot. And then here we have Arcadia. It says, fighting for a cause that you believe in is seldom easy. Remember to back away if the flames threaten to consume you. So she kind of looks like Joan of Arc. I think they're being funny in here. But yeah, so don't burn yourself out, of course, but keep moving where your heart tells you to go. You know, keep believing in yourself and moving forward and fighting for yourself and for your peace and your happiness and everything. And if it just feels overwhelming, take some time to pause and rest and back away. And it might be that, you know, whoever these people are, they're trying to push you into walking into the flames or making foolish, you know, decisions. But we've already seen from the things that you've been through that you're not a fool. You're not somebody who's going to be just messed with. And you have a lot that at stake that you've put a lot of yourself into. And so just pull back if you need to, if you're starting to get burned out or feeling overwhelmed and everything. Take care of yourself, and then you can start again. So get rest. Make sure you get some rest. I'm going to pull one more bonus card, and then we'll wrap up this reading, and you can see the final drawing. So here we go. Can I have one bonus card, please? for this collective watching. Yeah. Unconditional self-acceptance. That's right. Accept yourself completely the way that you are. That will free you. That's going to make sure that any of the naysayers and all that stuff don't really, their opinions are not going to matter. Just love yourself. Just keep working on that self-love, which I know that you were, so that you've been doing. So just keep working in that direction. Do the things you love for yourself that inspire you, and you're going to stay on the right path. That's really excellent. And to be that beautiful stag that you are. So the stag here, it's like the stag had to get used to the horns growing in and being heavy and everything. But with with balance and perfect poise and practice, that stag knows how to hold those horns beautifully. And they just are the most elegant, gorgeous creatures. So, and that's what you are as well. So just remember that. Yes, it could be heavy, but with perfect balance and taking care of yourself and staying healthy and staying in right alignment and everything. Keep yourself aligned with what you say and what you do. Your actions match your words, things like that. And you stay in connection with the divine, and you're good to yourself, and you'll see that the results are going to be excellent for you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this reading and that it helped you in some way. If you want to exchange energy with me, please like or comment on the video. That's always appreciated. And also, just so you know, I never do personal readings. So if anybody is soliciting you in my name or anything, that's not me. I do not give personal readings. So, all right. So in a second, this drawing's going to pop with the finished one, and you can see the completed image. So thank you so much for being here. And until I see you next time, take care and peace to you. Bye-bye.